He was back from Darren's, made a sandwich and a coffee. Brought this down. Thanks, Darren. Some steel. That's the little grid, coal basket, whatever you want to call it. I was going to try some of this other metal, but then I found that piece, which is going to do the job better, I think, overall. And those are just too thick and heavy, unless you start building a completely new one. This thing is so dainty. So I'll be cutting basically all of the dead metal out. Sandwich, peanut butter and jelly. Cut all the dead metal out there, drill holes and create new grooves and make a plate that fits in here on top of this. Drill a pair of holes here, pair of holes there, use some dome head type gutter screws and with threads through, and then just tie it down, and that should work. So that's the one job. This needs a second coat. Paint's dry, which is really good news. Got some old road signs from Darren. I don't know where they've been scavenged from, but they're going to be the wings for one of those pairs of wheels that I've got, these over here. The bottom one, the really badly rusted one, actually is my favorite, but that's going to Darren. I'm going to make him a set of Von Dutch wings as well. I might see if I can get enough steel out of these to drum ends, but I don't think they're going to make it. I just do not think they're going to be wide enough. But yeah, paint this thing, see if I can get wings out of that one, see if I can get a pair of wings out of those. So then that's two of the wheels kind of sorted, and then I need to find some really nice rusted metal, like wall or roof sheeting for Darren's one. But before all of that, finish this job. That's for the moment. And then also, before I even get there, I'm going to quickly wash those wheels that I collected this morning. And what else? Oh, and there's a record number 4 vice that came out of Darren's skip. It's missing one jaw, but that is literally a half-an-hour job. Make up a jaw, unthread the screw threads that are there, either tack weld something on there and undo them or whatever, I'm not sure, I'll figure it out. And then that vice will go to Phil. He's actually a restorer of vices, but I might use some of that thick steel. I think that's 12 millimeters or maybe 10. I might use some of that steel to create a new jaw for it. Should be able to get it out of there. But yeah, back in a bit. Righty. Not sure exactly where to start. Ultimately, consensus is using some plate, copy it in there, side to side, drill a couple of holes, put some flat domed screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them, through there, tie them up, and then obviously shorten them. And that should work. And then also cut slots to replace the existing slots, because basically all of these need to come out and tidy up. I was going to go up to there, but I've decided it's not much integrity, but it adds integrity to the whole thing. So I'm literally going to plate the whole thing and put new slots in. I'll drill some holes and then run it with a grinder, cut little slots through, and hopefully that'll be functionally good enough for Joe. So yeah, there we go. Not sure where to start. Yes, let's start with that. I think copying is probably the first thing. So size wise, looking an outside of 29, call it 30 centimeters, old fashioned 12 inches, and maximum length here is around about 200 millimeters, 20 centimeters. The steel's dirty, let me get some gloves on. So if you do that, probably get as close as possible to an exact measurement. And in fact, fooled myself there. That's 18 from there to there, and 18 is probably in the old language would have been 7 inches. So it's really tiny. Now, one of the tricks is to copy this curve, which needs to be cut into that as well. You know how to do that? I do. Right. So, on cardboard, it's a little easier. You just trim it, cut it with a pair of scissors, flip it over, and copy it. So, you check, double check, and check again. Right, so that width is perfect. Shit. And that length we just need to get and then cut the curve in. First things first, I guess. Just get that curve. Somebody sent me an item in the post. A thank you from Rich. Right. Just really take these gloves off, that's kind of shit. You got the curve copied. Cardboard assisted design. It's a certain constant in anyone who works with metal or does car restoration or rust removal or any other kind of sheet metal work really, is just use the cardboard to create a template. Stash the rest for later. Another day when I float about like a fart, not knowing where I'm looking for. There you go. Easy as that. So then the next trick is copying it. Now this front end is really nicely cut with a guillotine. So I guess the right way to do this is to copy. That's 6 inches. So cut 6 inches. First of all, let's draw a line at 6 inches. I have to work in imperial today because everything is an imperial. 15.3 millimeters. What I tend to do is do a black line with my Sharpie. I buy them in packs of 10. I'm quite loath to waste them and use them, but you invariably run out of a Sharpie just when you're in the middle of a cut or a build or a project or something. This one has kind of had its better days, and I suspect this was probably taken from a meeting at some point a few years ago. So that's the first thing I do. It's just that. But then I also just reinforce with this. So now we get a little score. Then you add cardboard to that. This is going to be a bit of a noisy, dirty cut. But now, got inside the however is, check, double check and check again, because you lose some in the thickness of this front tooth. So now we have essentially 195. If I look back at this, the way I looked at it previously, this is 180, so that's wrong. So the whole lot has to go back some. 160. 160 max. So that's me screwing up. Check, check and check again. It's interesting. Oh, I know why. It's because I copied the underside, didn't I? And the underside has a whole lot less than the top side. So we start again. Yeah, that's a good centimetre that you can take out there, 10 millimetres. Try again. $185. I think that's what we said. $185. So do this a second time. So that's prepped. Now what I'm going to do first is actually drill the holes. I have to go through here in the hope that they will work. Probably won't need this yet. Brought my fancy drill. This drill came out of a council tip years ago. It's pretty much like new. Bosch 680. Wouldn't work. My brother came, first thing he did was he checked, it's got a plug, and he started wiggling, and he found that right in there, even as a new tool, the wires weren't connecting. Opened it up, reconnected, job done. I don't use this very often, I save it for a bad day, a good day for that matter. Let's see if we can drill 4 holes without snapping anything. Now the next trick is to copy these slats or slots. So those are slats, those are slots. To copy them onto the new plate that's going to be sitting on top of and bolted down with these long gutter bolts. At least you can remove them if you ever need to replace the plate or if you need to do anything else, but hopefully that'll keep all of this together because there's cracks up here already in the last two of these slats. What I'm doing is I've got some cheap Poundland paint. I'm literally just going to do a dusting over the back of this so that then I can see where exactly I need to cut the slots in order to drop the holes and make sure that I maintain support. I'm actually going to put some tape in there. Just a bit of masking tape, which will denote essentially the end of this. Okay, that's tucked in nicely there. So you don't want to cut beyond this point. And what I'm going to do, in fact, is I'm going to overcompensate by putting this in a little bit deeper than it needs to be. But what it does is it then allows you not to go and cut more than what you need to cut. I'm not sure this is going to tuck in there, but it tucked in on that side, which is nice. So I'll just mask it like that. And same on this side. Like I say, the dusting of just cheap spray paint will show you exactly where you need to cut out. Of course, the first fire that you set up in this will burn all this paint away again. There you go. More than I needed to do. Give it a minute to go off. Then I'll disassemble. Drill the holes at the ends, because you also drill holes at each end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 holes I need to drill top and bottom. Quite big. I might do it on my big drill press, but I know the belt slips sometimes when you put these big drills through, so then you can cut between them. The slots are much tidier when you cut into a hole. So yeah, this should be good. It's dry, and then what I'll do is just with a ruler, I'll just push these through. Essentially replicate, may as well drop it down the bottom there. Replicate these. All of these have twisted because of heat over time, so I've got to kind of compensate a little bit now. Something like that. Then you drill the holes roughly there on the plates. So how's that? How does that grab you, James? See what I've done? So now the holes get drilled, the slots get cut between the holes, and you basically have a replication of that grid or grill. then the little fire basket is sorted. So I'll do the rest in my usual style. Right, so the next trick, I've punched holes kind of where these have to go, so I'm going to put a pilot hole and then I'm going in with something a lot bigger to get the width. Let's hope this works. I guess I should be working on my welding table instead. Let's start again. Oh, shit. The one time when a bit of lube does make a huge difference. Right, the replacement plate is done. Last thing that's left to do, I guess, is to cut out the bits of rotten, dead cast iron out of the bits that were there, just so there's less obstruction. But I'm taking away just the dead bits. I'm not taking all of the slats away. So yeah, that, and then finally some paint. And then I'll give Jo a shot and tell her she can go fetch her little grid, coal basket, something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, make the comments, all this stuff. And if you know where to buy one of these little guys, they're about 200 millimeters deep and about 300 millimeters wide, only tiny. If you've got one of those, let me know, because a replacement's always better than one that's been patched up for the next 10 years or 5 years. Cheers, bye. Thanks, Pedro. Right. That's what it looks like, one side. I think I can take some of the safety kit off now. Oh, man. I guess wearing this is better than having black snot all night. Right, so I've done that. I've cut that back. All these bits that are really just completely and utterly rotten away from time. The plate that I made, I'm still going to be putting some high heat paint on there somewhere as well. But one side fits because it's got a curve. So once this is together, basically you have the same, just copied, something like that. I'm quite impressed. As in, when I say impressed, pleased that I was able to do all of this. And obviously the idea is that what I'm doing is I'm putting these bolts on because that way they can either be unscrewed or cut off with a grinder if, as and when this plate eventually wears through. Yeah, there you go. Fixed, I think. If she doesn't like it, well, there's not much I can do about that. Next job, paint. So we'll be back for that in a minute. This thing was eating drill bits, a bunch of grinder discs, some flap discs, obviously electricity and all the rest. But it's weird, it's one of those things that kind of gives a nice buzz when you fix things. Oh, I like fixing things. We'll see if it's good enough for Mrs. Jo or Miss Jo. I don't know if she's been married before. Right. put the little nuts and bolts in, whatever you want to call them, gutter bolts, they're in. Last job, little one, is just to cut the backs off these quickly and then spray. Good. Right. Underside first. Just that. That. Flip it over. Do a little bit of that. Into that can, I think. I think that's it. Job done. Some junk. And Joe's little fire grip done. Enough of this. She's just got to collect.